Ever wonder what it takes to not just teach music, but to truly lead and innovate in our field? Get ready to uncover insights from one of music education's most inspiring voices.
It's the Happy Music Teacher!
Are you an elementary music teacher who's frustrated and overwhelmed? I'm Jeanette Mahalchik, a happy music teacher who loves teaching every day, but it wasn't long ago I was in your shoes. Join me Wednesdays to help you find happy in your music classroom. Today, I am beyond excited to welcome a true rock star in the elementary music education field to the Happy Music Teacher. With over 2 decades of experience nurturing young musicians, Aileen Miracle is now guiding an entire district through the Unified Arts Curriculum Supervisor position she's currently in. She's deeply rooted in Kodai philosophy, having completed advanced studies even in Hungary, and has taught these methods at universities across the country. Her passion and education are clear. She's a recognized Teacher of the Year as well as a teacher creator. Beyond the classroom and her supervisory role, you know her from her fantastic blog, her own popular podcast, and her engaging workshops. When she's not inspiring us all, she's the proud mom to 2 daughters who are also immersed in the arts. Get ready to be absolutely inspired by the one and only Aileen Miracle. Aileen, welcome. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, same. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. So, if you would first share your journey of how you got to where you are as a coach, as an educator, as a difference maker for other educators.
Sure. So I started teaching way back in 1999, and I was in a district where I actually first taught in the district that I graduated from, and we had, if you can believe it, professional development every single week together, where we had like an hour meeting every week that was during the school day, where like none of us had to teach during that time because we're able to all meet together. And it was a big school district like the one I'm in now. So just thinking about that is inspiring. They unfortunately don't have that time anymore in that district, but it was in Michigan where I grew up. Yeah, so we had this time together. So I started teaching in 1999, and then I started my Kodai levels in 2000, and right after my first year of teaching. And then I started sharing ideas at these professional development meetings with the people in my district. And I remember at one point I had a friend of mine say to me, you're really good at this. Like, this is your thing. You should do this. And I didn't really know how to make sense of it, that comment at that point. But I looked back on that, years later when I started presenting more, and I was like, wow, like that's really cool that she saw something in me. So I just really love sharing ideas with other people. When I first started teaching, there was, because it was a while ago, there was not Pinterest. There weren't really very many blogs. No Instagram, no, the landscape looked different. And in order to learn about best practices in the music room, you'd go to conferences, really. Like you weren't going online, right? So it started with that. It started with going to a lot of conferences and learning as much as I could. And then started presenting maybe in my 10th or so year of teaching. I started presenting workshops, and around that same time started my own blog. And it just kind of grew from there, and really at the heart of it is I loved what I was doing. I loved teaching music, and I loved sharing with other people. So
yeah, I started in 99 as well.
Oh,
and
yay.
I do remember, you had the CDs, and you had, there was no YouTube that you could go, or iTunes or whatever it happened to be at the time, where you could go and search for music. And like you said, I came in so green, and it was a mess. And I just remember, boy, I wish there were the online resources that there are today. That would be
Yeah.
so much
And I think
better.
I think of all the mistakes I made as a new teacher. And I
Oh,
think part of
yeah.
the reason why I love sharing ideas is I don't want anyone else to feel as frustrated as I did. Like, I remember my first performance, the only one that my parents actually have ever attended, because I'm in Ohio now, they're in Michigan, and it was a disaster.
Wow.
Total disaster. I did not know what I was doing.
I
I
feel
had a
that.
student teaching experience where he didn't really do any performances. So I didn't know what I was doing. So just being able to share with someone like, look, I made these mistakes. If I can help you not make those same mistakes, then that's great, you know? And just, I think
Yeah.
the ability to share ideas is so much better than it used to be. So I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I agree with you there. My first I always tell the story of I was, halfway through my school year and I sat down in the middle of a second grade class and was like, "What am I gonna do? I'm so bad at this," So like you, that's kind of my purpose too. One of the reasons I do this podcast is I just want to help people so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And, if people can learn from those of us who've been in the career for a long time and have not left and are happy with what we're doing, then all the better.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
so we talked a little bit on email, and you filled out my Google form about your why in creating engaging lessons and saving time, and really that's kind of the dream for all of us, right? Is we want to save time and we want to create engaging lessons because otherwise the kids are just not so great to teach. And so you've really seen the music education world evolve from pre-Pinterest through, the abundance of resources we have now. So how do you think the early experience of the limited professional development and that sort of thing, how do you think it helped you to create your own approach to lesson planning? Because full transparency, you were the first person that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I'm a little bit of a fangirl. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to interview Aileen Miracle today. Oh.
Okay, so your question is, and that's very sweet of you. Your question is how did that impact what I'm creating now? Or yeah, I
Yes,
think
yes. How did it change the way you're creating lessons because you didn't have this plethora of ideas to pull from?
yeah, I think just because I was frustrated and I was like creating I was sharing, well, let me go back. Like, I was using ideas from other people first, right? Because that's what you do, teaching and sharing. Like, you just,
Right.
pull ideas from here and there, right? And then because there wasn't a whole lot of ideas to go around, and I was just learning ideas from, you know, going to conference or whatever, then
Sure.
I'm a creative person. I love to create. So I started creating my own ideas. And then I think like maybe I shared something one time and people were just seemed like really excited about it. And were really appreciative. And so I thought, oh, I could do this more. Like, and it's kind of a nice because then it's not just I'm creating this lesson for my own students, which of course is awesome, but I'm creating this lesson and then others, other students in other districts that I don't even teach at, if they can benefit too. And it's not just about the students too, it's also about just the teachers feeling like a little bit less stressed. Teaching is
Yeah.
an overwhelming job, as we all know. Teaching music is
Yeah.
just, it can be really overwhelming. It can be a lot. So I just know like my own relief at learning an idea from somebody else and just not having to do that work to create something from scratch. And seeing it successful in my own classroom. And then when I was inspired to create my own ideas, I wanted to share it with other people because I just knew that if they can feel more successful, they're happier, their students are learning. Like, I don't know. I love sharing. I love helping. I love creating. So yeah, it all kind of stems from that.
Yeah. Same. And I feel that too, that, you know, it, it is such a hard job, and people don't realize how vast our curriculum is and how how much passion we bring to education. Unless you're in the classroom with us, you don't understand that. And I think that I'm also a creative person, and that really fills me, to create and to help people and to present. And, I get that from you as well. So, one of the core challenges that you and I both have talked about in, all of the places we talk to people is feeling alone, feeling on the island, and you're undervalued. And, you've been now both a classroom teacher and an arts curriculum specialist supervisor. So, what do you see is the biggest contribution, or the way that we can really feel less isolated, and what do you tell teachers to combat that?
Yeah, I think it depends on your situation. So when I was teaching, when I was in the classroom, I taught for 24 years before taking my current role. And in the district I'm in now, I did have a music traveler who was there for the first part of the day. He's now actually the music teacher at the school that I left. So I was able to start my day every day checking in with him. If we had a good idea, we could share it with each other. So that helped. It's not like, you know, you think about a second grade team at a school where they're with each other the entire day. I would watch the second
Mm.
grade team at lunch. They had lunch at the same time as me, and most of them would eat lunch together every single day. And the collaboration can happen not when you have to sit down and, okay, it's time for collaboration, but the really good collaboration sometimes happens when you're just like heating up your frozen lunch and being like, hey, what
Right?
did you try today? Right. So I
Mm-hmm.
watch them get to do that every single day. And we as music teachers often, like those of us who are lucky enough to have someone in our building for part of the day, like you might get a little part of that, but you're not even necessarily getting like dedicated collaboration time, right?
Right. Right.
So I think so I guess all that to say, in my district, I think we're a little bit luckier than in some districts where you are the only music teacher, right? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're the only music teacher K-8 or even K-12. So there really
Right.
is no one else to talk to. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the current like educational / social media landscape, I think that helps that, because if you can lean into connecting with other people in Facebook groups, on Instagram, um, I think that helps. It's not the same as
Yes.
having someone there every single day, but I think it helps. And I'm a big fan of having just even one person that is like your safe person, your safe music teacher friend that
Mm-hmm.
you can reach out to with the quote unquote stupid questions, right? Like with the questions where
Right.
you're just like you're not sure. Like my safe person is my friend Matt. And I first started talking to him because I do not feel like I'm an expert with choir. I was a band person growing up, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was in choir for one semester in college in my undergrad. And then in my Kodály levels, I was
Right.
kind of in it more, right? Because we had choir every single day. But in my second teaching job, I was told like, you have a choir and this is when you meet. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
And I'd been through one Kodály level at that point. So I knew it was important, but it also scared me because I was not a
Yes.
choir person. I wasn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did the best I could with what I knew. And then I started in my current district and again started a choir because I enjoyed it, but I felt like an imposter. Like I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And then I found my friend Matt, who like so brilliant with choral techniques and with choral sound and all of that. So I could call Matt up and be like, okay, so I'm singing this piece, and in this one part of the song, there's this word, and I'm not sure how the kids should pronounce it or whatever, right? I could go to him
Right.
and I could
Right.
be like, what do you think about this? And he would answer me without any kind of judgment at all, you know?
Mm.
So, and I
Yes.
became his person for like assessment, right? So like just having a person that you can reach out to with those questions that you're a little bit afraid to ask anybody else, where you know that they won't judge you, whether that person is in your
Mm-hmm.
district or that person is someone that you went to college with or whatever. I think it's really helpful so that you don't feel so much like you're on an island all alone.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And that's actually one of the reasons that I started the Happy Music Teacher Academy is I just got off a call with them not too long ago, and we kind of did like this whole deep dive into the school year, and I was telling them, how to kind of regroup and reframe and all the things. But that's really was my whole purpose behind starting that academy, was just to have some place where we could be together and collaborate. And it's been really helpful for me as an educator, even though I'm running the thing. It's like I really have a chance to talk to other teachers and get ideas. And it's been as helpful for me, I think, as it has been for them. So, what's one piece of advice you would give to a music teacher who might be feeling overwhelmed or discouraged? And how can your resources help them sort of overcome that feeling?
I think to remember your why, especially when you're feeling really overwhelmed or stressed out. Often, I think as music teachers, when we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out, it might be about the students, but usually it's about something else, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's about maybe your administrator isn't as supportive as you would like them to be. Maybe you have a parent who's being really difficult. It's usually something else. So if you can try to focus
Yeah.
on what about your job do you love? I remember having those moments as a music teacher where I would think, oh my goodness, I get paid for this? Okay. This is amazing, right? So, like, or just
Right?
hearing, like, this is something, one of the biggest things that I miss about being in the music classroom is hearing students singing every day. Like, just the sound of kids'
Yes.
voices. It's just
Yes.
amazing, right? Or, like,
Yeah.
when I had choir and I had to drag myself out of bed and get my daughter to school early or whatever, and it's kind of crazy, and you're rushing to get there, right? And you're kind of stressed out. And then you get to choir or your first class of the day or whatever, and the kids just sing beautifully, and you think, "Oh, I'm so glad I went through all of that to hear this," right? So I
Yeah.
think just
Yeah.
remembering like why you do what you do, and try to focus on that. I think, and of course, this is easier said than done, but try not to focus too much on the things that you can't control and really focus on the
Hmm.
things that you can control. And now that I'm in my role, it's really
Mm.
interesting because um, there are and I support all of the unified arts teachers in my district, not just music, but I sometimes will have, teachers come to me and advocate for what they want, whether that be an art teacher who's advocating for more money in the budget, or a music teacher who's advocating for more instruments in their inventory, or whatever that might be, right? Um, and
Hmm.
I'm lucky enough that I'm in this position that I can make some of those things happen. But even in a district where you don't have an arts administrator and you have your principal, right? I
Hmm.
think advocate for things when you think that you can make a difference, to help kind of lessen that stress and overwhelm, which, like I said, that's going to depend on your administrator, it'll depend on your situation, but advocate when you can, but also being able to focus on what I can control and what I love about my job and trying to
Yeah.
focus on
I
that
I
more.
love that. Yeah. I love that because, you know, we we can so easily get into that whole negative tailspin of, oh, this happened and that happened. And I do think that if you try to, focus on those wonderful parts of your job when those little preschoolers almost knock you down because, they're trying to hug you so big, or,
Yeah, yeah,
my favorite was always like seeing the lines, the little kids in the lines, and they'd be all wiggly and excited to come into my classroom. And so, yeah, I think that when you focus on those positives, it really makes a difference, and I know a lot of times people are like, oh, it's so like la-di-da, but really it does make a difference when you focus on the positives rather than getting sucked into that negativity.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
So
It's an awesome job.
I want to, before we run out of time, because I like these to be not too long, because, people just don't have a lot of time. I want to talk to you about the Music Room Meetup. So you've got this summit coming up. And if you are listening to this after the fact, obviously, I'm sure that Aileen will be running another one, because I know you ran one in January, right? That was
In
very
February, yeah.
successful. And
Hmm.
oh, in February, yes, I knew it was in the wintertime. Tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about the summit.
Yeah, so I started my first one in February, and it's called the Music Room Meetup. And that one was focused on upper elementary, which was super fun. And this time I've
Mhm.
decided to focus on primary grade, so kindergarten through second grade. So I have 18 sessions over the course of 3 days. Most of them are
Nice.
pre-recorded, and like each day, 6 sessions kind of like drop, right? That you can watch on your own time, and some really amazing presenters. You're presenting about students with special needs, and that's a really wonderful
Thank
session.
you for the
And I
invite.
have like everything from like puppets in the music room to in tune singing to ORF with primary grades to culturally responsive teaching, like a wide gamut of topics, and mostly focus on kindergarten through second grade. And I've really loved, I've watched all of the sessions before I'm posting them. And I'm just so excited about
Right.
the professional development that, that people will receive. And, yeah, it's been really fun to do. So yeah, it's free, so you can sign up for free and then view the sessions if you want longer access. And there's also many other goodies that come with like the all access pass. So you get longer access, and then like I have a musical programs course. So I just talked about how my first musical performance was a disaster. So I used that experience, and I created a course so that people didn't feel that same way. So that's like
Oh,
one of the
nice.
goodies in the all access pass, or just resources that like align with the sessions. Tons of stuff that come with the all access pass. So you can pay for that separately, or you could just attend for free as well. So I've loved the excitement, like as people are registering for it, they're so excited about, and actually like specifically with yours, I have heard several people say they're really excited about your session. So yeah,
Yeah.
just really excited.
Good, good, good. Yeah, and I think I run a summit at the usually the beginning of August, which I'm running third annual Make Music Magic Summit, and I agree with you. It is really exciting. First of all, to see the level of presenters is, I mean, people just present in the most amazing ways, and I think whether it's live or virtual, don't you feel like you just get so much from being in a conference, being a part of a conference? You get new ideas, and you think of things in ways you'll be like, oh, I never thought about it that way. So I really think it's so beneficial. And the best part, I love that yours are mostly pre-recorded, and then people can kind of watch them whenever, so
Yeah.
within a few days of each other, so that's kind of cool as well.
Yeah, I
So
think,
love it.
as a mom, I understand how hard it can be to actually sit down and at a specific time and watch something. So I thought pre-recorded would be best. And it kind of goes
Yeah.
back to what we were saying about feeling like you're on an island all alone. I think this is one of those things, one of those opportunities that helps people not feel like they're on an island all by themselves, because they're getting specific PD. And that's something in my current role that I really try to create those opportunities for specific PD, not like PD that like, oh, this can apply to anyone. It's like, well, yes. I mean, and I have gotten some really good PD that was more general. So I'm not saying that that's not good PD. It can be really good PD, but also having those opportunities for specific like kindergarten music, right? Second grade music, like this
Yeah.
is what this looks like. And here are some
Mhm.
ideas to help. So
For sure. And I agree with you that I've gotten a lot of really amazing professional development over the years, but it's really nice to sit down and it's just for us,
yeah,
and they're speaking our language, and they're
yeah.
speaking right to us. So before we wrap up, Is there anything else you want to share? For sure, I want you to share your contact information. We'll have that in the show notes as well. But if you want to share the link to the music room meetup and any other links, your TPT store, anything like that.
Yeah, I can give you a list of links if that works, to put
Yeah, that'd be
below the
perfect.
video. Okay. Yeah, so I can give you a link to the Music Room Meetup, as well as my blog is called Aileen's Music Room. So if you go to my website, aileen'smusicroom.com, you can get to my blog, formerly Mrs. Miracle's Music Room. You can get to my blog. My podcast is called The Music Room. I have a Facebook group called The Music Room with Aileen Miracle. I'm on Instagram at Aileen's_music_room. I'm on TikTok at Aileen's Music Room. So yeah, find me in it. Wherever you like to hang out, I would love to
Right.
connect with anybody. And yeah, and then I have a TPT store, which you can find just at Aileen Miracle, AILEEN. So yeah, I just would love to connect with anybody around elementary music. Yeah, it's been really fun to have this conversation with you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know this is a really, really busy time for you.
Of course, it was fun to talk to you.